I certainly can't.
So, how was your day, JC Dubs, sir?
It was alright. It was good.
Just alright, nothing major, nothing exciting.
No, not really.
You so are boring. Get out. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm boring. It's just that's me.
That's alright. I'm sorry, I'm boring. Someone, I'm not going to say who, has given me my first ever feedback. I've been told that I was boring. Ironically enough, he used the Toy Bazaar video as an example, which was shot at, what, 3:30 in the morning? But to be fair, that's kind of like how the nerd used the NES Ghostbusters to treat the entire series of that game.
Yeah.
I mean, he played the shittiest one of all and thought that was the intended design of the game. And it turned out that no, that was the Japanese port of the game.
Yeah, that's prime example number one on why not to trust the nerd all the time.
And I sent him an email. I'm hoping he gets back to me on that. Just thinking, hey, well, not two hays, but what's your thoughts on the Commodore Ghostbusters? Seeing as how it's the one that started all of this. I mean, may as well go full circle. I should probably mention that I had to do this offline, mostly because it took several tries for me to do this right.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, would you believe that
Oh,
it,
sorry.
it, it would you believe that it's so easy to derp extremely early in the game and screw yourself over? It also turned out that the game can just end whenever the hell it wants. It doesn't even have to reach 10,000, the timer, to say game over.
Damn.
I don't know if that was a programming flaw or what, but ouch. And I was doing everything right too. I was catching, well, 2 out of every 4 ghosts. And, well, that's not exactly true. Maybe 6 out of every 8 ghosts. And I got every single Marshmallow Man taken care of. No buildings were knocked down, and yet around 7,800 or something is when the game decided to end itself. And for whatever reason, the video has decided to derp itself. Actually, you know what? I'm going to have to copy this over. I'm actually trying to stream this from my other computer. Probably a bad idea.
Yeah, probably.
Possibly, maybe? I'm not quite sure. Now, for those of you that hasn't watched either two of the Ghostbuster videos I put up, this is the original Ghostbusters game that was literally made mere months after the movie hit in 1984 by a fellow by the name of David Crane, who had made Pitfall and several other games. Mostly Atari games. Eventually, he moved on to do computer programming. Read a bio on him in an old Commodore magazine a couple of days ago. Figure I'd send that over to the nerd just to show him, hey, that you might want to go back and look at this. But yeah, just a few months after the movie hit theaters, Activision was like, hey, actually no, it was a few days after the movie hit. Activision was like, hey, we want this into a game. And Davy's like, okay. And I read that it took 500 hours to build this.
That's like a second in today's standards.
Well, if you're considering good games, yeah. I should probably rephrase that. Games that are worth playing. Because lots and lots of crap games, they also take a lot of time and effort into building, and they turn out to be complete shit. Much like that belch. Okay, I was about 40. There we go. I also went and crunched some numbers. Depending on what car you want to go with, you only need about $30,000 to beat the game. Now granted, you could beat the game without the portable containment unit, you just have to make shit tons of trips back to headquarters to unload your traps. But as you can see, this time I'm using the station wagon to save money, due to the fact that you need to earn every cent of your bank loan back in order to proceed to phase 2. I don't know why I'm pausing there. And I found out what the marshmallow sensor does. The marshmallow sensor, it allows you a couple more seconds to take out the Marshmallow Man when he first appears. The image intensifier is not what determines the purple buildings. They just show up whenever you pass them on the map. The image intensifier keeps the ghosts in plain view whenever you're in front of a building, because without it they will disappear into the background, like behind the scenery. I'm trying to think of a good way to describe it.
I think I get the gist.
Yeah. And it turns out you don't really need the PK detector in order to determine how much time you have left in the game. So if you wanted to, you could load the compact car, the Beetle, with the necessary items, and you could beat the game with that. Theoretically. I'm going to try that sometime just for the heck of it. I'm going to go ahead and turn that down a little bit because, quite frankly, who wants to hear a butchered version of Ray Parker Jr.? on loop for a half hour.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've tortured Twitch enough with this. There's also an account number you can put in to give yourself $1 million.
I just wish that happened in real life.
I think everybody does. I think everybody else would be saying that as well, but they're too busy putting their pinky up to their lips. Ah, damn you, Austin Powers. And if you want to lengthen the amount of time that you have in getting back the money, it's kind of important to take out all the roamers, all the yellow ghosts on the map, any chance you get. Because any one of them that reaches Zool, it jumps the timer ahead by 100 ticks. Sadly, I learned I can't just lure a ghost with the proton beam by just nudging toward the trap. I mean, it kind of works if he's bouncing against it, but not all the time. I also learned that the ghost bait does have a limited amount of uses. Because after all, you are using it to essentially get yourself an extra $2,000 by taking out the Marshmallow Man. So naturally, you only have 4 uses of this thing, which will get you an extra $8,000. Unfortunately, if you're relying too much on it, the game will just end. I think that's why that one session ended at 79,000 ticks. Or 7,900 ticks. Damn it. It's only 9:30 and I'm already talking like I'm asleep.
Yeah, but you can't help it. You can't help that you stutter. Neither can I.
It's just I got so much information I'm trying to pump out and I can't. Can't form words proper. Plus there's a little bit of nervousness.
Yeah.
A little bit of nervousness because I know he's not listening, but just like horror, I'm about to go in for a extraction myself tomorrow morning at 8.
Ow.
It's nothing I haven't experienced already. I mean, I had to go in to have.
Still,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just. I know, but still, ow.
It's only so much ow if you don't have a whole lot of Novocaine pumped into you.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year I think it was 4 teeth taken out. I think I had 2. I had 2 of them taken out 1 week, and then I had to come back the following week for another.
Reese, I'm sorry to say this, at the rate you're going, you're gonna need dentures by year 40. No.
But keep in mind, this was last year. This time I only have to have 1 taken out.
Oh. Well then, phew.
I do have a good amount of chompers left. However, I am losing quite a few on my dominant side. You know all about the dominant
That's,
side, right?
yeah,
Okay. For those that
that's why.
don't, for those who might not know, it's whenever you subconsciously move your food over to one side and chew it there, like potato chips or potato chips, sandwiches, anything you put in your mouth and you chew, it will always go to that one side because that is your dominant side. For me, it's my right side. I think it might just be because I'm right-handed. I could be wrong on that.
That's why I kind of force myself to chew with both sides of my mouth.
I am going to turn up the mumble because I cannot hear you. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, it's not your fault. I just couldn't hear you all that well, and I had mumble down to about 20.
Ah.
I don't think it should hurt matters much. It's a shame that neither John or Don are on, so I could invite them on and talk some more about European dentistry.
I remember that.
Because I figure we're gonna be doing some more of that. Probably next week when the sutures dissolve. That's another thing I didn't know that people that dentists could do this now. They have special stitches that they sew into your gum to stop the bleeding. Now, obviously, you have to forego anything that involves sucking, because that can rupture the sutures and will cause blood to gush out like a faucet. But they dissolve. They dissolve after a few days when the blood stops. I just thought that was
Medical
amazing.
engineering, right?
I just thought that was amazing. It's also amazing that they use Atari Jaguars for that kind of equipment. And I'm now hearing myself. Interesting. I can hear myself.
Ghostbusters!
I should mention that if anyone wants to try out this game, there are a couple of sites up and running that do in fact offer this game to where you can play it via Java. And I am still hearing myself. Wow.
Alright, let's unmute it, or I was unmuted there for a moment.
I have no idea what you said, but I agree completely. Hello, Anastasia. How do you do? Anastasia is in with us in the chat. And she hates the world. Who doesn't? Who doesn't hate the world? That's why we have cheat codes. Because life fucking sucks, man. So according to the timer, I'm about 1/10 of the way through the game. At least phase 1. And I'm already halfway to where I need to be in terms of getting all the money back. Again, this is due in part to buying the station wagon instead of the Trans Am or whatever the hell that sports car is. I'm going to say it's a Trans Am. It just doesn't have that Firebird on the top there. I mentioned earlier that I crunched the numbers. With the sports car, you would need $26,500. With the station wagon, which I'm driving, you only need $17,500. With the hearse, you only need $16,300, and with the Beetle, you only need $12,300. Now, if only there was a simple code where you could just give yourself 20 grand and be done with it. Because really, you don't really need any more than 30,000. Honestly, you really don't need that much money for this game. Because you have to earn all that money back anyway. Otherwise, you will not get to Phase 2. The game ends when the Keymaster and Gatekeeper reach Zool. Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because the Gatekeeper is Zool. Whatever, nerd! I know they're proud of their little speech chip, but do they really have to shout Ghostbusters every time they catch a ghost?
Developers like to be annoying.
I suppose. Anastasia is mentioning that she's sad Neverwinter is boring. In what way is Neverwinter boring? I'm curious, because I haven't played it yet, and I was kinda curious in playing it because I have played Neverwinter Nights 1 and 2 start to finish. Including the mods. Well, okay, not all the mods. I was working on... which DLC was I working on with Neverwinter Nights 2? I know it was the second one. I forget what the name is, however. Has nothing to do with Neverwinter Nights, just the Neverwinter D&D realm. So they're kind of capitalizing on Neverwinter Nights, expecting that to sell the MMO. That's kind of lazy. Why not just call it Forgotten Realms Online or D&D Online or something? Also, here's a crazy idea. They could always remake Dark Sun. I remember playing Dark Sun from start to finish. That was a fun action RPG hybrid. It it felt like an action game, but it was still an RPG.
Very for a moment there, I thought you said Dark Side for the 32X.
32X. It wouldn't have hurt it.
No, it wouldn't.
At that point, I know we're jumping topics here, but at that point, Sega could not do anything right. I mean, they were just they were just throwing shit against the wall, hoping something would work. Okay, that was luck.
You know, I like the 32X and CD, but that was the start of Sega's decline, to be honest. And I love this Saturn, but honestly, Sega didn't market it that well, and the Dreamcast was Sega's final hurrah.
The Saturn, I will admit I don't own a Saturn, so I can't really speak of the games or the hardware itself. But from what I've read, it sounded like they were trying desperately to get a one-up on Sony, who was untested in the market. But just the fact that there was a newcomer to the market, Sega got scared. Dear God, that's a giant door. What the hell? That is a huge front door. Something I have to reiterate from one of my other earlier playthroughs. Is it just me, or is the building we're going to, or the one that we're currently at, is it just me, or does it not look like a factory? I'll show it when it pops up here. This building here. It kind of looks like a factory, with these two sections here being like chimneys and shit. Actually, they probably are factories now that I think about it. Because what else could that yellow stuff be that's coming out of the top? Oh, that's a shame, Anastasia, because I was going to ask for some, because I like white chocolate. And another derp moment brought to you by the Arcade Playhouse. Unfortunately, the nerd was kind of correct that this does get kind of monotonous and boring after a while. I mean, that part, that is a genuine fact about it. You are doing the same thing, catching ghosts and heading back to headquarters. But there is an upside. It's not for very, very long. I mean, you will get a definite end when the timer reaches between 7,500 and 10,000. And every 1,000 ticks, the timer starts going faster. And the ticks are, in fact, in tune with the ghosts moving pixel by pixel. I think right here is when I finally get my money back up to 300,000. Yes. It's at this point I start making a couple more mistakes, failing to catch certain ghosts and letting some of my fellows get slimed. But not one Marshmallow Man survives. I will mention again, the purple buildings, they only turn purple when you cruise on next to them on the map. And it's only houses that may get haunted. Sometimes they'll just go back to normal and will not flash red. And it did not show up on either of my two playthroughs, and it didn't show up in my third one here. But sometimes buildings will actually turn white. And if it turns white, watch out, because that's a building that was targeted by the Marshmallow Man. Which means it's probably going to be within the next couple of seconds that the ghost will turn into the Marshmallow Man and attempt to tear down that building. In which case, have a finger hovering over the B key ASAP. As I mentioned earlier, you only have a couple of seconds to act the second that the Marshmallow alert pops up. And there was one occasion where I thought I was too late, but it turned out I wasn't. But damn, That's a very small margin of error. Also, damn, is my voice rednecky. See, right there, two of the ghosts are about to go into Zool. Into, I think that's Central Park West building. I gotta stop referring to it as the Zool building, because it's not what it is. Yeah, the point of no return is coming up. Once the timer hits 5,000, that's when the marshmallow men start coming up. Shit. Four houses. Holy crap. Yeah, that was a derp moment on my part. It's kind of like premature ejaculation. Sadly, that has happened to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I figure, you know what, I'll just go ahead and say it. Speaking of white splooge, there's the Marshmallow Man. Defeated once again. And like an expensive hooker, I just got $2,000 for my efforts. Yay! I have to apologize for a little bit of a miscalculation. There was a white building there. One that was targeted by the Marshmallow Man. A Mios has appeared. Everybody pile up on Mios. Haha, the Marshmallow Man falls again. And the ghost narrowly avoids capture. I was really hoping to show at least one time when the Marshmallow Man crushed a building. But I can't, because you can't afford one mistake in this game. Because if you take down the Marshmallow Man, you get $2,000, but if you let him crush a building, you lose $4,000. I mean, before I learned of the ghost bait, I I always ended up with 0 when the game ended. Mostly because the Marshmallow Man kept trampling buildings and I didn't know how to beat him. But yeah, holy shit, look at the size comparison of this Ghostbuster and this front door. They're like toddlers compared to that building. Alright, I think the next ghost after this is the last one before we move to phase 2. Now I keep referencing phase 2 in this game, and it's mostly because that's when you finally go to the Zool building and have to do whatever you have to do in the game. Yeah, you automatically go to the building if you've got enough money. And there's Stay Puft. Yay, Stay Puft. You have to get at least 2 of the Ghostbusters into the building, so you're only allowed to fuck up once. Thanks to you, the portal to the spirit world has been closed. You earn a $5,000 reward in the city. Also, you made more money than you started with, so the bank will raise your credit limit to $322,500. Your new account number is this. Write this number down for future play. Now, if you want to go ahead and screen cap that, you can, at least in the highlight. I would recommend it.
Remember when he had to write down stuff in video games? Ah, those were the days.
That's passwords for you. But yeah, that was Ghostbusters, folks. That was a successful run of Ghostbusters after 3 attempts. Dear God. First time, I didn't even get to phase 2. The second time I got to phase 2, but none of the Ghostbusters made it into the building, because I kept getting smushed. And this third time, I finally figured out how to do it right. So there you go. After 3 tries, Ghostbusters. As for what to do now, I've been thinking about